Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the emerging Overflow Room. Some of you have asked, why are there so many empty shelves here? Well, we're facing the empty part. I mean, the fuller part is in front of me, number one. But number two, the reason, in case you're coming into this in the middle, is because I'm moving the Overflow Room, because my parents, or my mother that is selling her old house, which is where my Overflow Room is at the moment. And so I've got to move it all, and it's all going to fill up, hopefully with some space left over for expansion. I'm not exactly sure how it's all going to shake out, but I think we'll be okay, because this is a large room, as you can see here, you know. I should have enough space to get the old Overflow Room into the new Overflow Room with some space to spare, and it's going to take like months and years to do. But at the moment, we're moving things like, a couple bins at a time. You can see the bins behind me. There's bins. See that? That's the rest of Shostakovich, what we're talking about now. And eventually, I'm just going to have to pack everything in boxes and do a whole new move again, which is making me nauseous just thinking about it. But that's what's going to have to happen, I think, because the old Overflow Room is going to get sold. Anyway, we'll see what happens. We'll just see how it all works. I'm hopeful. In the meantime, we get to talk about all this stuff that's in here, and we're working on Shostakovich. I did a quiet one, you see, because I don't want to freak out the cats. They're hanging around down here, and I don't want to get scared if I do it too loudly. So anyway, Shostakovich. Oh, this is so much fun. Here is today's pile. Now, one of the reasons the Overflow Room exists in the form it does is because, in the earlier days of CDs, a lot of stuff was deleted. You couldn't get it on LP anymore, and it came out on CD at various locations. Like, there were separate divisions of the major labels. So, like, you'd find things in France, and you'd find things in Japan, and you'd find things in Germany, and so you'd get import CDs. And then, of course, they would wake up and reissue an entire box of whatever it was, or an entire cycle, or an entire series that had the same stuff. And so you wound up accumulating multiple copies of the same material. Now, normal people would probably get rid of their original duplicates or whatever they were, but I tended not to do that. I just hung on to them for whatever reason, because I thought that, from a professional point of view, it would be interesting to talk about the history of these pieces through their multiple incarnations. And it has been, actually, I think, been kind of interesting. And so I'm glad I stuck with it. I mean, it's waste, but I did it. Anyway, so here's our stack of Shostakovich, which we're working on, Shostakovich. There'll be many videos of Shostakovich. And let's see where we are. Okay, these are this is not out of print. This is still around. This is terrific. Shostakovich Symphony No. 11. With the Scottish National Orchestra and Alexander Lazarev. Is it Lazarev or Lazaroff? I never remember. It's Lazarev on Lin. This is marvelous. It's marvelously recorded. It's an exciting performance, really exciting performance. I mean, with a very, very speedy adagio in memoriam, and some other things going on, interesting tempos. It's just an interesting performance. It's well played. If you liked Nimi Järvi and were disappointed in the fact that his late symphonies were with Gothenburg on Deutsche Grammophon instead of with Scottish National on Chandos, which is where they should have been, then you'll want this. It's really fun. And Lazarev himself looks nice and scary. There he is. Look at him. It's like that sort of conductor thing. Okay, so there you go. Then we've got, more film music. The Fall of Berlin and the suite from the unforgettable year 1919. Unforgettable. Absolutely unforgettable. My grandmother was 14 then. So there you go. That's why it was unforgettable. We have here, let's see, who's performing? The usual people. It's Adriano, the Moscow Symphony Orchestra, and all of those good people. Do I have duplicates of this? I might. You might have talked about it already. I've talked about some of these film things. I have no clue at all. But there it is. Maybe another one. I remember this. This has been around forever, and it's quite splendid. The piano quintet, the piano trio number 2 with the Borodin trio. abetted in the quintet by Mimi Zweig and Jerry Horner. The performance of the trio is really big, ballsy. You know, these are heavy-duty Russian performances, and they were very closely recorded, and you know, a really big Chandos sound. They're larger than life and enormous fun. They really are. So that was always good. Tchaikovsky Piano Trio, Shostakovich Trio Number 2. Well, I collected Shostakovich's Trio Number 2 because I think it's one of the most amazing pieces of 20th century chamber music that anybody did anywhere. It's just gut-wrenching, especially the finale. And when the main tune comes back with the muted violin, and it's a marked vibrato, by the way, in case you care. Really extraordinarily beautiful, amazing music. This is Irado with Vadim Repin, Dmitry Yablonsky. Remember Yablonsky, who's the conductor and all those Naxos recordings? He's a cellist. And Boris Berezovsky. I mean, it's quite an ensemble, and they really give it their all, along with the Tchaikovsky Trio, which is an amazing work all by itself as well. Fascinating and terrific. And what's this one? More film music. This is part of the Chandos series, the New Babylon. Film music from the New Babylon, not the whole New Babylon in this particular case, although the complete work is out now. And the song cycle from Jewish folk poetry with Valery Polyansky and the Russian State Symphony Orchestra. I got this because of the song cycle, which I just think is amazing also. Incredibly beautiful and sad and harrowing and extraordinary for 3 soloists. Most of what Polyansky did for Chandos was horrible. He's just not a great conductor. He's one of those choral conductors who really ought not to be doing, I think, orchestral music tremendously. But this was nice to have. And the excerpts from the New Babylon are okay for people who don't want to hear the whole thing. I think you should have the whole thing. Rothchilds Violin. This is a really wonderful, moving piece, a tiny little one-act opera, 41 minutes long. And it was completed and orchestrated by Shostakovich because Benjamin Fleischmann, the composer, died in mysterious circumstances. I don't know whether it was because he was Jewish or something happened to him, but he died around 1942. He disappeared, or he was disappeared. And Shostakovich completed the opera as a labor of love, and it ought to get performed. It's from a story by Chekhov, and it's marvelous. And then from Jewish folk poetry, again, this is with Rojdestvensky and the Rotterdam Philharmonic. I don't know how many recordings there are of Rothchild's Violin. So that was sort of like, you know, worth having. Oh, look, Everest. Remember Everest? We have Shostakovich 6 and 9. The 6th is with Adrian Bolt, the London Philharmonic, and it's a surprisingly good performance. I was not expecting much from it, I have to say, but Bolt does a good job with it. You know, he had much more interesting repertoire choices back in the 50s, selections than just doing the usual British stuff, or maybe some Brahms, and this Shostakovich was very, very good. And the 9th is with Malcolm Sargent, the London Symphony. It's not bad either. But for me, the interest in this is Bolt's Symphony No. 6, and it sounds really good too. That was really kind of an unexpected pleasure, let's call it. And now here's Yarvi doing 11 with Gothenburg. I mean, it's very good. It really is. I particularly like the second movement, which is a little zippier than it usually gets, because this piece can bog down. It really can, but I wish he had done these things in Scotland. I really do, because that was just such a humming series. And it seems to me that when he did these DG recordings, good as they are, and they are good, they really are good, but it seems they just lack a little bit in intensity. It might be because the sonics are not up to the Chandos standard, possibly. But, you know, you have to complete Yarvi's cycle, so I got those. And here's Shostakovich playing Shostakovich. We talked about this. He does the 2 piano concertos, the 3 fantastic dances, and a bunch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the Preludes and Fugues, Opus 87, with the Orchestre Nationale de la Radiodiffusion Française under André Cluitins. Well, let me tell you, Shostakovich, as I said before, was not the greatest performer of his own music. He was not a great pianist. He won competitions. I mean, he was technically a fine pianist, but emotionally, when he played his own music, he was quick and swift and kind of brittle and well, there are better. Let's just put it that way. But if it's always valuable to have the composer doing his own work. He recorded these concertos a couple of times, actually. There's an old Melodia or other broadcast thing of them, too. So that's nice to have. But it's not my preferred version. And then we've got the two violin concertos with Lydia Mordkovich and the Scottish National Orchestra in Järvi. These are, as you might expect, sort of hot and heavy performances. I mean, they're exciting, they're passionate, and they're intense, and I just love that stuff. It really is so much fun. And now we have more Violin Concerto number 1 and 2 with Dmitri Sitkovetsky and the BBC Symphony and Andrew Davis. See, there was a period. These things happened in clumps where everybody woke up and started playing Shostakovich violin concertos. Not always number 2, but mostly number 1. And that's still the case. Most people don't do number 2; they do number 1. But I mean, they're great works, and so I just collect them. Collect them like they're going out of style. Oh, another one. David Oistrakh with Metropolis. Oh, this was super. This was like, whoa, baby, go get him. And it's got the cello concerto with Ormandy and Philly, 2 classic Shostakovich versions with amazing Russian soloists with equally amazing American orchestras. The violin concerto performance with Metropolis is a smoker. Metropolis' Shostakovich was always kind of nuts, and this is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Oistrakh is in top form. The cello concerto is stereo, and I believe and the violin concerto is mono, but the sound is quite good, really good. And gosh, it was so wonderful to capture these people in their primes in good non-melodious sound when the works were really still brand new. I mean, think about it. I mean, Shostakovich's violin concerto came out, around 53, 54, right after Stalin died. And here it is being recorded the same minute. Wow. I mean, you were there. It's as great as being there. Look, the fall of Berlin in the unforgettable year 1919. How many of these do I have? I have no idea how they accumulated this way. I just don't know. I don't know at all. But there's more of it. Okay, let's see what this one is. This looks interesting. The Gamblers, opera on a play by Gogol. Soloist and orchestra of the Bolshoi Theater, Andrei Chistayakov, conducting. The Gamblers was an incomplete opera. He didn't finish it. There's 47 minutes of it here. And let's see what it says. It's his third opera after The Nose and Lady Macbeth. It's based by Gogol, blah, blah. It started in 1941 after the Seventh Symphony, but it remained unfinished. So this is what he did of it. It's Harmonia Mundi, Saison Russe, something, one of those. I don't know how the French do these things. They have labels and they have sub-labels and relabels, and they're all bought and acquired and traded like trading cards. And, this is Le Chant du Monde, Saison Russe, Harmonia Mundi. Go figure it out. I don't think it exists anymore. Anyway, look, Shostakovich 14, Bernstein's Century. This is with Teresa Kubiak and Isir Bushkin, New York Philharmonic and Leonard Bernstein. Not one of his successes. It's not that the singing isn't, the singing's okay. It's not as good as on some other versions. And the performance itself seems to be a little bit sluggish and heavy for Bernstein. It kind of surprised me. And it was released, this was after Bernstein had left New York, and there were some things sitting in the can, and this is leftovers. It really was. It's a strange performance. It was issued under odd circumstances and roundly ignored by just about everybody. Because by then, the Shostakovich thing had really gotten going, and there were other better performances. It's that simple. So there it is. I have it because, it was one of the Bernstein Shostakovich things. But I almost never listen to it anymore. I mean, I really don't. There's so many better ones. So there you have it. We end on a down note. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's okay. We could shuffle the pack next time and maybe get more exciting toward the end. In any case, keep on listening. Thank you for joining me, and take care.